Right, when you get one of these, all you gotta do is open it up. I'm gonna try to make a general video to show this will be wrapped in some bubble wrap like this with a zip tie around it, and you'll just have to pull the 4 screws out of the lid, set the lid aside, and then you take your ground wire and attach it to one of the lugs on the ground side of the bank and run it through the shunt. Now, depending on where you attach this other end will determine what amperage you see out of that right there. If you leave this inside the bag, down in the bottom of there, and never do any of this, no harm, no foul, you just won't see any amperage on here. It won't affect anything. The bank will still function 100% properly. This is just a visual of your amperage. Okay, now after you get the shunt through here and you set it back down into the case area and attach it to this ground bus bar, now if you take this other end over to the frame of the vehicle or to the case of the outside of the alternator, your ground, now you're going to see what your alternator's amperage going into the bank is. If you take this end and go to your big subwoofer amplifier, now you're going to see how much amperage your amp is pulling out. And that's just for the ground shunt. Everything else you could take, like if you're going to take this one to your car amplifier, take the next one and go to the frame or to the case of the alternator up in the front. This side, you'll take the alternator's positive in to one of them, and then the other side to your car amplifier's positive. And then set the lid back on, and you're good to go. All these banks are now coming standard with this same voltmeter. And if you choose to, you can remove it from the unit, unplug this right here, take it up front to the front of the vehicle, plug it into this micro USB, flip the switch up to USB, and the data transfer from this unit to the one that's built into the bank will show you the voltage of the bank via 2.4 gig wireless, kind of like an old house phone, transfers data. And if you don't want to do that, you can just leave it in the case, just leave it exactly the way it is when you get it from me, just like that. Okay, and on my skid banks, the same exact thing. If you take this ground shunt over to this ground bar, wherever the other end of this is, if it's on the frame, you're going to see what the alternator is going in and out of. If this is going, the other end of this is going to your car amplifier, that's going to show you the amperage that your car amp is pulling out of that. And the same exact thing with all my Durabase headways. You just take the lid off, grab that ground shunt, attach it to the ground bus bar. All of them come standard with this meter now, except Eco headway banks. But the 3 I just showed you all come with this, and they all do the same exact way to use the amperage shunt.